So, I bark on a song. Fuck off.
You shake a pretty mean cake, Batman.
I'm about to waste my fucking money on the M&M Funko. I need to stop! Help me!
There are too many of them. What are we going to do?
Sorry I'm late. Bring me that horizon. Afraid I got lost on the path of life.
You gotta go.
What's happening, people?
What's up,
We're
everybody?
back. 2 weeks in a row. That's radical. We're actually back, but
2 weeks
we're
in a
going to be
row
going
on
over
Wednesday.
what?
Wednesday should be the regular day.
Yes, sir.
Again, going forward. It's probably just gonna be later in the day, but
Yes, sir. Well, yeah.
around
Unless
like
things change with work, it'll be later in the day. But hopefully for episode 100, Roland and I can go for a little longer
I'll be
on
off.
that day.
so.
So yeah. So I'll keep you guys posted. But Roland, how garbage has Rings of Power season 2 been? Even before we get into it, like on a scale of a trash can to a whole landfill. How
So-
bad has it been?
So before we get into that, just want to real quick. Got my shit finished today. It's hard to see. It's all covered in a sticky thing, but
Yes, sir.
getting real close to finishing up the sleeve. So be done soon enough. I know it's hard for everybody to see.
That particular area that had to hurt.
That
Just like
literally,
that,
literally
particular
mostly right here.
areas that had
This
to
is
hurt.
mostly right here. Everything else was not that bad until he's going over the same spot.
Did they give?
When he's going over the same spot
Mm-hmm.
for a couple hours, it starts to hurt. But I got a pretty high pain tolerance, so there's parts where I just didn't feel it at all.
How long were you in the chair for?
How
long were you in the chair for?
First session, I was in the chair 5.5 hours with smoke breaks in between.
Wow.
Today I was in the chair for a second session. It's done now. But I was in the chair for, let me think, probably 1 o'clock, 12:45-ish to 5 o'clock.
Wow.
So not terrible.
That's a lot of, dedication for some permanent ink onto your body. Can y'all just think about the practicality for just 1 second? You are getting your, body permanently tatted. You are having something put onto your body. So if we have any younger people watching or, listening, think before you get a permanent tat. Just think, because that's on you forever.
Dude,
unless you want to get it taken off you, which
plan
costs
since I
a lot
was
of
16, right? I had this one planned since I was 16. I didn't get it till I was 23. So,
right.
7 years. So literally just.
Well,
keep that in
but
mind.
I'm
I had
just
an idea
saying,
for
there
it,
are some
so,
people.
And then I always knew I wanted the
There are some.
Jack one, the Sparrow. I always knew I wanted the Sparrow.
Yeah.
So I got the Sparrow on the other arm because if this is going to be Lord of the Rings, why the fuck would I put a Sparrow there? And basically the same thing with this. So now this is a forearm pirate-esque ocean sleeve. And I was gonna do just ocean shit, and then I was like, I want to incorporate an animal into it, and I was like, well, Kraken, fuck it. So there's a Kraken now, and taking down a ship, and he made the sky look fantastic. I mean, Here, I'll I don't know, full
That
screen
looks cool.
real quick. Like I'll see
I
if
got you.
the
Hold
sky.
on.
You can see it.
There you are.
Like,
That's sick, bro.
yeah, so there's like a moon behind the ship and shit. It's hard to see on here. But yeah, dude, like this cloud and shit looks fucking phenomenal. Like he really just killed it, but it's getting filled in too right here with like a map of Treasure Island. So it's kind of become a pirate sea.
That is sick. So, are you only gonna get your arms done, or are you gonna
For
get
now.
like your legs and your chest done?
For now, I'm only gonna do arms. I got a couple ideas for right here. Just something small. The upper arm though, I'm saving for like probably some like nerdy shit too. Because this whole arm's already taken. Even though I just got this full on original Tolkien Lord of the Rings shit sleeve. So that's not going to be any.
Yep.
It'll be Tolkien Lord of the Rings, like legitimate Lord of the Rings. So not this fan film bullshit. So that's like a perfect segue, I guess. So this season, like you asked, how bad is it?
Yeah.
I said last week that it's basically they're just carrying on everything that was terrible about season 1 in season 2. I would say that episode 4 is probably one of the worst episodes of the series because there's a certain character that pops up in it, and he's just like not anything like the character from the books. So, but episode 3 is better only for the sole reason, I'm pretty sure it's 3, that Galadriel's not in it at all. I think that's this episode that we're about to go.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive she's not in this one. It's either this one or the 4th.
Interesting.
It's not in it. But
word.
Yeah, well, so I watched about.
Let's just get into it then.
Last week I watched 4 hours of this. This week I rewatched 3, 4, and 5. And then tomorrow I'm gonna be watching 5 and 6 again. I gotta watch these multiple times because I gotta really pick out what I want to talk about. This episode has horse fu in it, so you'll see. It's like kung fu, but you're a horse. All right, so let's get into this shit. So right here in the beginning, we've got the Numenorians from the end of season 1, and they're at their like little station, and they're about to leave. So what's up, fucking Wade? How you doing, dude? So yeah, the Numenorians are like at their whatever it's called. Like he's gone for now. They're at like their forward operating base, so to speak, and they're leaving because Mount Doom blew up in the beginning of season 1 or the end of season 1. So they're all like, "Oh yeah, we lost," even though they really didn't. Kind of everybody lost in one at the same. I don't know. They did lose because the orcs now live in Mordor, but they lost like a couple hundred men, so they're dipping. Isildur is stuck here. They think he's dead, but he's not. So this is Isildur's horse, and we just go up a little bit. Elendil is like talking to Isildur's horse. Oh, look who it is. There he is.
Hello there.
What's up, brother?
Oh, work, driving back. How's it going?
It's going good. Glad to see you.
Joining Rings of Power?
Oh, dude, I'm having so much fun with Rings of Power.
Oh, yeah. Love it. Best thing that ever happened.
I was about to talk about how they're basically ripping off the scene from Two Towers right here.
Awesome. That sounds dope. That sounds fun.
Yeah, so they're ripping off a scene from Two Towers where, if you remember correctly, well, everybody should remember the scene where there's a horse that is freaking the fuck out, and no one can get the horse to calm down. It used to be Theoden's son's horse. It's kind of losing its mind, and Aragorn walks up to it, speaks Elvish to it, calms it down, and it becomes Aragorn's horse. Who later on in that movie, when Aragorn is fighting the wargs, and he takes a little tumble off the cliff, yeah, he fell. So his horse goes back and gets him, and like nudges him up, and he climbs onto its back, and then he ends up at Helm's Deep, like right before the big ass battle. So, yeah, that's basically what they're doing in this episode, but poorly, and it's clearly just a ripoff. So Elendil's talking to the horse, and he's like, "Let the horse go." So he does, because it's Isildur's horse. They do this thing now where they like to show you like parts of the map going by, like to show you where they're going. Oh wow! See, now it's Mordor. It's not the Southlands anymore. Yeah, it's Mordor.
That's stupid. That's stupid.
So then these orcs walk up to the horse because the horse is now over in Mordor, and he's like, the orcs are like, so the orcs are like, "Oh, come here, little horse. We're not gonna eat you." And then the other orc is like, "Not yet, anyway." It's like the horse is just looking at everybody, so they put a lasso on the horse, because I guess they want to eat it. So they put a lasso on the horse. The horse starts freaking out, and the horse does horse foo. I don't know what the fuck that was. Sounds like
what is horse foo?
So the horse is like god tier, and it just kills all of these orcs except for like 2. So it does like a back kick and like sends an orc flying like 20 feet into a tree, and he gets stabbed through the back. And then the other orc who's holding that rope right there just gets dragged into a. He doesn't let go of the rope when he starts getting dragged. He just lets himself get dragged and smacked into a tree stump. So that happens, and the horse is running away, and the one orc tells the other orc, "Oh, let's go after it." And he goes, "No, that's the dark forest, or the black forest." He said, "That's the black forest. No one ever returns from the black forest."
The show is made for
bro. Keep in mind,
the
literally,
show's made for babies.
bro. Literally, like a couple days to a week has gone by since Mordor was made, and they're like, "That's the black forest. No one goes in there and comes out alive." Like,
Well, it can't.
Oh,
I think it's even a week because it takes place right because Galadriel and Elrond are chasing each other in the opening scene of the show, so like it has to be like, right after. So maybe a day, maybe 2 days. Like it's not a week.
Yeah, the
and they're have no parts.
And the Numenorians haven't even left yet in the beginning of this, so it's like it's been a couple days, and they're already naming like shit. They're naming locations like, "Don't go in there. That's the Black Forest." And they're like, "Really? Is that what we're calling it?" He's like, "Yeah, it's no one comes out of there. I saw one guy go in there like 24 hours ago. He didn't come back, so no one comes out of these woods. These woods are the Black Woods now. They're scary." So they let the horse go into the Black Forest. So the horse goes into the Black Forest, and this horse is psychic because he just knows where Isildur is. And Isildur is in a cave. So the horse walks into the cave, and Isildur is hanging there in some spider webs.
All right, so genuine question first.
Yeah.
How long before people start shipping the horse and Isildur.
Stop, bro. Stop. Stop.
Well, Isildur gets a I don't know, it's stupid all around. So this fucking horse finds him in a random ass cave. Like, this horse is a bloodhound. He's psychic and he knows fucking horse foo. So I'm not surprised he just finds Isildur.
Better than Shadowfax.
Yeah, apparently.
And Bill the Pony.
Yeah, apparently.
Come back, boys.
So this fucking horse goes into this place, this cave, and Isildur like wakes up. Somehow Isildur as well. How did he get here? Because he got crushed under a burning building in season 1, and then you don't see him again for the rest of season 1, and then now he's like traveled through this forest and gotten himself stuck in spider webs in a cave. So either the spiders came out, found him under the burning building, which again doesn't make sense because he must have gotten out from under the burning building, because if you have a burning building on top of you, you're gonna die. So he must have gotten out.
Okay, well, you're forgetting that this is the show that had Galadriel face down a volcano. So clearly fire isn't actually damaging in this world.
That's true. Until episode 4, when fire is definitely damaging and just instantaneously makes fire arrows and they blow up like grenades.
Oh yeah. But that's a fire arrows. Okay, there's a difference.
That's true. That's
good. Somehow.
So Isildur wakes up in the spider cave and the horse nudges him awake, and Isildur like looks across and there's a fucking. He's looking around and there's shit all over the place, dead shit. And he's freaking out and he's bleeding. There's this orc across from him that's all wrapped up too. That's probably the one guy that went into the Black Forest and didn't come back. So they were like, "This is it. It's the Black Forest now." So basically, somehow he just reaches forward through the spider web and grabs a sword to cut himself out of the spider web. That works. And he falls in front of the orc. Then the orc wakes up and gets all mad at him. And I think we're like, yeah, he's getting attacked by an orc. And then this big ass fucking spider comes down and grabs the orc and crushes its head on a rock. So then Isildur grabs a sword and he starts slicing and dicing all the little spider's babies. He's got the orc sword. He's like fighting little baby spiders, going. And then he basically gets on his horse and books it out of there. Because the spiders don't want to go in the light.
Okay, before we go further, so it's not stated in the show.
Yeah,
but I can't remember if it is the actor or one of the writers who said that is baby Shelob.
Yeah, no, in the after.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so in the like, you know how Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon do like that little like 5 to 10 minute like thing at the end of every episode where they talk about inside the episode?
Uh-huh.
So they said they confirmed that this is Shelob.
Little baby Shelob.
It's a baby Shelob.
Which
what gives them the right to confirm that though?
Later in the lore, Isildur builds what will later become Morgul, which is where the Witch King takes over. Yep. So it's near Shelob. And so now apparently Isildur can go, Shelob's there, there's a fortress there, but then it's just fine coexisting with Shelob, I guess.
Yep. Don't go up in Don't go up in them dirty hills, boys, because there's a spider.
Like I feel like I don't know, maybe like okay, first order of business, let's get a group of men, let's go hunt a spider.
Yeah,
you know?
Literally. Let's get an entire fucking platoon and let's go up there and kill this thing. Nah, we're just gonna leave
it. Was able to mortally wound it, so I'm pretty sure that just a handful of men should be able to. Not just men, Numenorian men.
Yeah, so like 7 foot tall motherfuckers. Yeah, they could have. They definitely could have. So he escapes the spiders, and then we go back to Numenor, where Elendil is like, they're at a funeral, and it's for the king who died. Oh yeah, and they feel the need to tell you it's Numenor because you don't fucking realize because you're a stupid audience member. Just in case
Obviously.
they do this with every location
Telling
in
you,
this
this
show.
show is made for babies.
So she was like, that's Isildur's sister, who is basically just an idiot. Because now she's like, you mourn for the king, but you don't mourn for your own son. And Elendil looks at her like, "You, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we lost a ton of people. The king's dead. This is the king's funeral. So, what the fuck are you talking about?" And then, yeah, she's getting all mad. She's basically just like a real uppity bitch. And then the queen walks in with Ar-Pharazôn, her
You
cousin.
mean like most women? Yeah.
So she's blind,
Sexy.
right? So Muriel's blind. So she's like, "Yo, Elendil, you gotta help me fucking be here and shit." So he's like constantly just walking her around. Why Ar-Pharazôn just stopped holding her hand? Everybody does this, right? Because the actress can see and she doesn't act like she's blind whatsoever because she looks directly at people when she's talking to them and also knows where all their hands are at all times. She doesn't act blind whatsoever. So she just stands here with like a blank stare on her face a lot. But like so here's the other thing. She had a cloth over her eyes in season 1. She doesn't wear it at all in season 2. Why? I don't know. Do you not want people to know you're blind, or do you want people to know you're blind? It's one or the other. Because in season 1, she wore the cloth, but then she's like, I gotta take the cloth off because people know I'm blind. And now it's very obvious that she's blind, so just wear it or don't wear it. But either way, I really do genuinely think it's because the actress was like, I'm not wearing that again. I can't see what I'm doing playing a blind person, so I don't want to wear this cloth.
I want to be able to see what my blind characters see.
Yeah, exactly. So Elendil's like explaining, I don't even fucking remember to her. And this lady walks up to the queen. And this lady's she's an asshole. She really is. She's just a real asshole. She walks
Most
up.
of the women in this show are.
Bro, she
Scratch
walks
that.
up.
All of them are actually.
She walks up to her. And this is Muriel's father's funeral. So this is, keep in mind, this is like me going up to somebody at their father's funeral and going, do you know how many people died? Do you know how many people died? All these soldiers died. Your dad's dead, but all these soldiers died. And then she smacks the fuck out of the queen. So, dude, I just... That's
That
like,
would be awful.
you go to a fallen soldier's funeral and you're like, you know how many other people died the same time as your dad? Smack the fuck out of the kid.
Not only that, but she smacks the queen. And then the queen's like, yeah, that's okay. You guys are good. Like, I get it. She's right. Like, I totally understand why no one in Numenor would want this bitch as their queen. She's blind. She's clearly retarded. She doesn't expect or take any honor or respect from anyone. Like,
no.
How would I want her as my queen?
And on top of that, the guards just stand there looking like they're looking right now. They don't move forward to get this woman away. They don't touch their weapons. They don't do anything. They just stand there. They're just as Elendil also just stands there. And she's like, wait, nobody do anything. And they're like, don't worry, we weren't gonna.
Yeah, we're kind of just hoping that you die, but I guess you're still...
guards. We're not gonna do anything to protect the royalty. So that happens. And she's like, I'm sorry, and gives that bitch a hug. And then Ar-Pharazôn is like talking to Belagir. Belagir came down from the north. Now, Belagir, is it Belagir or Belzagir? That's what it is. Belzagir, in the books, is a king of Arnor. Not from Numenor. He's from Middle
Not
Earth.
from Numenor. Okay.
He's from Middle Earth. He ends up actually most likely being one of the 9. But in this, he's just a guy from northern Numenor, I guess. So he came down to pay his respects. So that's fun. And forget even what that was. Oh, so now it's like, yeah, it's back in her room. Now it's back in Muriel's room. And that little doodad that she's holding there is like somehow the key to a false wall that leads to the room with a palantir in it.
I do think that was explained in season 1, but I do not remember season 1, and nor do I care to go look it up.
Yeah, so it's like a fancy little like bracelet that the king wears, and somehow it unlocks this. Yeah, it like unlocks the room to go and look in the palantir. And our Farazan comes in, and he's like, "Hey, what color do you want to wear tomorrow to the coronation? Do you want to wear white or you want to wear red?" He's like, "I think red would suit you because it shows the future and Numenor being strong." And she's like, "Yeah, but white is tradition. And when my father wore white, an eagle showed up."
Your father's dead, though.
And our Farazan's like, "That's the past. I'm more partial to the red." And she's like, "Nah, I'm going to wear the white." And then our Farazan is like, look, he could literally hand her either color.
That's what I was expecting. Like, I was kind of expecting, like, are they just going to, like, give her the red dress and she's going to think it's the right one? That's what I was wondering.
That'd be funny.
That's what I've done. The costume, bitch.
The show sucks, but
the other
I was
funny
sleeping in that
thing
bedroom.
is, like, our Farazan could be literally wearing anything or nothing right now, and she's just, like, having a conversation with him. And I think that's funny that people could, like, fuck with her so hard. Especially people.
It's probably going to be Blind Fred because I fuck with him so much.
Yeah, like so our Farazan goes, "What do you got behind your back?" And she's like, "Nothing," because she's hiding that key. I don't know why he doesn't just step to the left or right and look what's behind her back before asking the question.
Okay, but have you seen how fat he is? I don't think he likes to move much.
Yeah, it's true. Even though he was like a strong leader in the books.
Okay, but it's Jack Black. Okay, so Jack Black discount from Wish.
That's true. So then somehow, I think they explain in the book or in season 1 that she knows how to move around that room because she does a little bit later. So here we get a scene in public with our Farazan, his son, who's on the left, Belzahir, who's on the right, and what is her name? Earlin or whatever, Elendil's daughter.
Made up daughter? I don't remember.
Yeah, his made up daughter, who's not in the books and doesn't exist. So they're having a conversation about our Farazan taking over, right? Like basically calling the queen incompetent, saying that she's a shitty ruler, how everybody else needs a strong ruler. She's nothing. Our Farazan should rule. And they're basically conspiring, like right here in a bar, like not even 4 feet away from people.
Yeah, that's kind of dumb for them to do that. I don't know why they do that.
Then we skip ahead a little bit because every time she opens her mouth, it's stupid. To Valendil, who is also at this bar, and he's like, "Hey, why are you guys at this lowly like bar from away from the riches and the royals? Why are you away from like the royal area?" Because Valendil is one of the Numenorians that is right under Elendil. He went to Middle Earth and came back. He's like Isildur's best friend. And they're like, "Hey, we were on our way back from the funeral and we figured we'd stop at a bar. Just, the 4 of us who are definitely not conspiring." And I have to say, dude, I can't stand our Farazan's son. He's such a little twat.
He has very punchable face.
Dude, he's got an extremely punchable face. In episode like 4 or 5, when somebody fucks him up, doesn't really fuck him up, but like hurts him, I laughed.
Oh yeah, I'll be honest. I've yet to watch episode 5. What episodes? I haven't watched the last one.
That's 5. So 6
Yeah,
comes out.
5 yet.
Yeah, like 6 comes out like tonight at 12 or tomorrow or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I need to catch up.
You guys hyped for that?
So he's basically saying, yeah, look at his face, dude. Tell me it's not very punchable. Look at him.
Bro,
Look at him.
I got bullied a lot in school, and people would stop bullying me if they like saw him, and they would like go and like bully him. They would like make fun of him. That's crazy.
When I say the word, the F slur, that's what I picture. Like, that kind of person is exactly what I picture.
Yes, dude. Yes. I must have said myself a couple times that this little
baguette.
Yeah. Like French bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just he's basically like, you dare talk to my father this way? And he's like, yeah, don't talk about the queen. And you should sit down, you little fucking pussy. That's why he's got his arm on his shoulder. He goes, I'm a real warrior. I could basically fucking kill you. And our Farazan's like, sit the fuck down. And then AR, fuck, what's her name?
Star Wars dog, what's happening?
Arian.
How are you?
What up, dog?
Long time no talk.
Yeah, so then like Isildur's or fucking Elendil's big tit daughter is like basically like,
why'd you say it like that?
Because she's got huge tits. And Valendil,
I mean, that's literally not even hyperbolic. The best part about her character.
Yeah, no, that's facts. And yeah, so Valendil is like, yo, why are you here? Like, what are you doing with them? I've known you since you were a kid. Like, what the fuck is this? And she just like looks away and looks down, and he like walks away. She's like, she's nothing. Then we get this scene of Muriel, and she unlocks that fancy door with the fancy big ring thing, and she goes to touch the Palantir because she can't see, but it's not there. So then they're talking more, and I'm pretty sure she says that something about having a fucking Palantir or whatever. I don't know. And we get more of this Adar shit. Oh, this is where the orc has a little fucking family. It's adorable.
Oh, fuck yeah. I thought I missed that.
No, it's right there. Look, there's a orc mom. That's his orc wife in the background holding their orc baby.
Wait.
Dude,
hold on 1 second.
That's Glug's family.
Did you say orc mom?
Okay, wait.
Orc mom.
So let's just play this scene out first, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah. So hold on. So basically, this whole conversation here is Glug, this orc, is talking to Adar, and he's like, "Yo, is Sauron really dead, dude? Because if Sauron's not actually dead, then we might have to go to war again, and I don't really want to go to war."
Mom.
We don't even really want to go to war because like we have families and shit. We're orcs and we love our families and we don't want to go fight in wars for Sauron. It's basically this conversation. And then Adar's like, don't worry. I got a big old fucking homie coming who's going to help us out. And then I'll just play this. That's Glug's wife and kid.
Okay, so there's been this whole orc situation reminds me a lot of the Acolyte with the Kai Anibandi situation, his birth date. Because a lot of the shills are saying people are bitching about there being an orc family and Tolkien's just orc family. Okay, so it is stated by Tolkien. what the orcs do produce in the manner of the children of Iluvatar,
Yes.
as it's known. So they do produce, and they do have some sort of family in one way or another. What they do not have is a desire to be with that family romantically and to uphold that over going to war. The one thing that orcs above all else crave is just war, chaos, and bloodshed.
Yeah,
For
they're
sport.
bred for war. They're literally bred for war. So when orcs, here's how I interpreted it, the way it's explained in the book. By yes, they do reproduce in the same way the children of Iluvatar do. So yeah, they have intercourse, but
orcs have sex.
I literally imagine it as the female orc is like a mother rabbit who just can produce and produce and produce and produce and produce. And all they do is they stay in Mordor, in the darkness, wherever the fuck they're at, and just continuously produce. It's not like one orc has a specific wife and the two of them keep producing children. No, it's like the female's only existence is to produce, and the male's only existence is for war. That's it. They grow up rapidly. You don't have orc kids running around. They grow up rapidly, very quickly.
So they're basically kind of like what the clones are, except the clones are kids for like a short time, but like
Clones are
orcs
kids for
just
like 5 years. The clones would be kids for 5 years, and by 10 they're 20.
Right. Yeah.
That's how that works. Whereas in
So-
this, I think they grow up.
How long
even
are
more
orcs kids for? Yeah.
I think that orcs will become a fully fledged warfaring orc within like probably a year, maybe less.
Wow.
I imagine so, probably, yeah. I imagine it probably. I mean, same with animals, right? Like,
Yeah.
not all animals, obviously, but a lot of animals, they are at very least able to defend themselves pretty quickly.
Yeah. Think of like how quickly a dog goes from being a dog to a dog that's able to reproduce.
Yeah.
It's 6 months.
Yeah.
Basically, as soon as a dog hits its like 6-month mark, that's when you get it freaking spayed or neutered. It's the same thing. Like orcs would just be rapidly reproducing, and the female orcs produce multiple at a time. There is no sexual love or romanticism or anything like that. It's literally like bang, done in like 30 seconds, we're out. You're gonna have a kid in like 2 weeks, and then we should do it again. Like that's how it works. That's how I interpreted the explanation, because they reproduce rapidly. That is something else that's said. There is no time for babies.
I think there is room for different interpretations, as if maybe they do have their own type of families, maybe the same way that, or maybe not like packs, right?
Yeah,
but it's definitely not a romantic feel. It's not a human relationship. It probably is closer to more rape of female orcs than it is to condoning people or orcs.
But I think the females are down with it.
It's something that we do know orcs do. They do rape people. That has happened within the lore.
Yes, but the other thing within that is that the females are also created of the same thing as the males, so they're just as evil, just as driven, so there wouldn't be a feeling of necessarily rape. It'd be more like, I don't know, you know how like the Dothraki in Game of Thrones just fuck to fuck, and the men usually kill each other to get like a chick? Same shit. But like the orc men might fight over it, and the females just love it, because it's
a lot more animalistic than it is humanoid, even though they do produce in the way of the human sons of Iluvatar.
And that's basically just because they're bipedal.
Yes.
That's it. They don't just pop up out of nowhere, but they are like they just produce rapidly. So I wouldn't even say it is like rape of the female, because they are just as dark-hearted and evil as the men. So it doesn't. They know their purpose is to solely reproduce, and the men's sole purpose is to war. That's it. That's all there is there.
Interesting.
Unless, of course, you believe
I didn't know
into
that.
power. In
Yeah,
which
so
case, they're marginalized who just want to be with their loved ones.
Yeah, orcs have loved ones,
Well,
and they're also in a they're also a marginalized group.
I mean, I always just thought of the orcs as just being monsters. Like, I don't
They
trust
are.
what the Lord of the Rings says. Like,
That's literally what they are.
No, sorry. I don't trust what the Rings of Power says. Where like basically they're trying to humanize the one group that should not be like humanized. Basically,
Yes.
is kind of like what I'm
Yes.
gathering here.
Quite literally. So
Yeah.
anyway, that happens.
I think you could even make the case that trolls are more human than the orcs are. Right?
Yeah.
Like, think of the three trolls in The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Dale, William, and Tom. Like, those are, at least to me, they are way more human than the orcs are, or should be.
Exactly. Well, trolls actually would have families. Not all trolls though. Cave trolls are big, dumb fucking creatures. It's hill trolls and mountain trolls that are smart. Hill trolls are not smart, but they're more capable.
Did you know that Galadriel killed a cave troll, an ice troll, in under 10 seconds?
I did, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first episode of season 1.
Bro, it's been so long since I've seen season 1.
So then we get the Mike Ehrmantraub troll show up.
The what?
Oh, is that him? Is that him?
That's him.
I didn't realize that. All right.
Yeah, so this troll is
Far out,
based
bro.
on Mike Ehrmantraub from Breaking Bad.
Which I still haven't seen, but just like the. Okay, like, I didn't know what's with. I didn't know. So, like, with both the Acolyte and Rings of Power, they've said so many times, yeah, we did this to make Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad inspired this. I get it. Breaking Bad's, very popular, well-received show, all the way through to the end. That's Breaking Bad is not Lord of the Rings. It's not Tolkien. It's not George Lucas. Not Star Wars. Stop using it for everything.
Exactly. Well, it's the same way that this show is supposed to be Amazon's Game of Thrones. Everybody's obsessed over these two shows. Instead of just trying to make it so much like these two shows, they don't make their own show. And it ends up sucking. It's terrible. Because they also have to throw all their ideologies and shit into it that has nothing to do with the lore. Which all this show is, quite frankly, is rape of the lore. Of
They
work.
They raped it already. It's well beyond raping.
Shows have been trying, I feel like, to capture what the first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones did, and they haven't been able to capture it because what Game of Thrones did is something that only Game of Thrones would like ever be able to do. Game of Thrones was like a phenomenon that cannot be copied. At least that's just how I feel about it. Like
no, there's another show that everybody in the Western Hemisphere sits down to watch at the same time every Sunday night. We're not going to see another show like that likely in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Likely.
They tried with this, but if this show was not connected to the Lord of the Rings, it might be halfway decent. But because it's connected to
No.
The part that pisses me off is that it's so connected to the Lord of the Rings. That's why it makes me mad.
That's the worst. The worst part is the fact that it is supposedly an adaptation of Tolkien's work. That is the worst part. That is not the only reason, far from the only reason, why it's a bad show.
Exactly.
There's like even taking away the fact that it is supposed to be an adaptation of Tolkien's work, it is still maybe a 2 out of 10. Like, it is still complete and utter shit.
Bad. Yeah, like if this show didn't have the name Lord of the Rings on it, like a lot of people, it would
have been canceled already.
It would have been canceled already, and it would have been so fucking forgettable that we wouldn't be talking about season 2 right now. People would be mentioning like, "Hey, there's this fantasy show out there," and everybody would say, "Oh yeah, I've seen that. It's shit." Whereas, like, I still have people come up to me and go, they look at my arm, and they're like, "Oh, are you watching Rings of Power?" And I go, "I have to." And they're like, "What do you mean you have to?" And I'm like, "Why are you that piece of shit on a podcast?" So, like, "Oh, you don't like it?" I'm like, "No, I hate it." And the worst part is, dude, I have some people that are like, "Oh, I think it's like a pretty good prequel to the movies." And I'm like, "I think you know nothing about the movies."
For real. The worst part is for me,
but I try not
so
to
like it.
The pastor of my church, they're from England. This moved here last year. His wife, I think, was roommates with Morford Clark.
Ha! No shit.
And so I was literally, because we were talking about it one time, and I was literally just about to rip into her acting and how she's horrible at pick for Galadriel. And then he just drops how she's was his wife's roommate or something along those lines. I was like, oh, okay, well, that'd be nice then.
The part that I've noticed,
try to be nice
the
about
part that I've noticed before we keep on going, the part that I have noticed, guys, and tell me if you have noticed this too, is that the people defending this show never bring the books up ever. It's only just like, these are good prequels, or this is a good prequel to the films, but they never bring up the actual books.
They'll bring up the books. It's not your regular person on the street who says they like this. It's somebody who specifically looks up something because they want to make a point about how this is related to the books. And then everybody else just tells them, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. This should be not taking place here, there. Yes. Is this based on the books? In the same way that we have the names of characters, yes. There is the names of characters, the names of places, but none of them are in the right spots. They're not at the right timelines. They don't act like the people that they're supposed to be. Like, this is Lord of the Rings in name only. This is the
great way to put it.
Name only. There's trolls in it. There's orcs in it. There's things that try to look like elves in it. But that doesn't.
Sometimes.
They mention names of places. They mention races. But there's none of it is true. None of it is what the book is. There's not been a single thing except for names in this show that has happened in the actual timeline or lore of Lord of the Rings. Even so, when you watch the movies and they mention certain things in the movies of the past in quick throwaway lines. Bro, I don't know if it's next episode or maybe it's this episode where Anatar mentions Baron and Tur and Arendelle, who Arendelle is half elf. And then they mention Tur and who is a child of Huron, who felt Glaurung, right?
Yes.
And they
I'm
also
reading that.
And they also mentioned Baron from Baron and Luthien. And I was like, fuck you. Don't even mention you can't even mention their names, dude. Because you don't know anything about these characters. Clearly, if you're saying Arendelle was a fucking man, He's a half elf.
Didn't they say?
Same as Elrond.
Didn't they say when season 1 came out that the people in charge of this show have never even read a Lord of the Rings book before? That should be a pretty big sign that these people don't know what they're doing. You know,
they said they got Tolkien scholars to consult, but then they fired Tom Shippey and Peter Jackson work on it.
Okay, so first thing they did is they ghosted Peter Jackson, but you know what? Whatever, they want to be separate from him. That's fine. Maybe at the very least, don't just ghost him. Like, give him an official response.
At least tell him, like,
the son of Tolkien, who edited a lot of his books, who got the Silmarillion released, huge part in the father, in Tolkien's world. He asked that Tom Shippey be a part of the show. Tom Shippey is by far the person who knows the most about Tolkien lore. He knew the Tolkiens personally. He knows it. Like, he's thus the head Tolkien professor. That shortly after, I think maybe a month, if that, maybe a little longer, after Christopher Tolkien died, they fired Tom Shippey.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So they fired anyone who had any type of knowledge. Like, they didn't want people there that could actually tell them that what they were doing was wrong.
No, it's more
so knowledge or a backbone to stick up for the knowledge.
Think of like, all right, I'll use this as an example. It's like when the Lannisters take over and they have their own council. So they get rid of Ned Stark and they get rid of Varys and shit. Like, and there's no Tyrion there. So, like, they removed anybody that would oppose them.
Right.
The team.
And then they hired. And then he did a bunch of, like, the Wired interviews where, like, Tolkien professor answers these questions, whatever. He got shit wrong on that. The supposed Tolkien professor got shit wrong. Basic shit, like female dwarves have beards. The Tolkien professor, hired by the show, got that wrong.
Yes. The guy who is a self-proclaimed Tolkien professor, because that's what he made his name on, like,
social media.
On social media and old blog pages. He made his name the Tolkien professor, so therefore he is a self-proclaimed Tolkien professor.
So it'd literally be like me, I don't know, saying I'm a herpetologist, reptile professor.
Yeah.
I know enough that I could probably outspeak a normie, but then, like, I get in a room with actual professors, I'm gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, it's the same thing
because I changed my Discord name to the reptile professor. That I'm, like, all of a sudden, like, it gives me, they're like, oh, you know what? We're working on this show with reptiles. We're gonna hire you to be our informationist.
It's like me at my current job where I work with freaking reptiles and fish, going, yeah, I'm like a marine biologist and a herpetologist. Like, no, I know how to take care of them, and I know all the different species and how they work. That's pretty much it. But I'm no fucking expert. And my job title is technically expert, but I'm not legitimate. We all know we work at a fucking high-end pet store. It doesn't mean we're experts. We're more experts than Joe Schmo that walks in to buy something. So that's the job title. But we're not.
It's like me saying, because we, like, run a podcast, that I'm like a, like, professional, like, broadcaster or something.
Yes, it's like me saying, I'm the host of a radio show.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, I'm the co-host of a podcast on YouTube.
Right. It's like that.
Yeah.
But then, like, an actual radio channel comes to you because of this self-proclamation. They come to you and hire you to do shit for them.
Yeah, it's like MMR comes to us, Roman, and starts asking us how to do shit.
You know what the heck to even do, bro.
Literally. It's more so like if the world news came to me and was like, listen, you talk about current events sometimes. and you run a podcast, so you must know.
You want
because you're a
you want an
podcast
anchor job?
Yeah, right. You want David Muir's job? Like it's like the same shit, dude.
I mean, like I would take it, and I would just learn, and I would just learn to figure it out.
Bro, it'd be like, you guys
know what I mean?
debate stuff. You guys like to debate things. Can you handle a presidential debate for us? You guys debate about Star Wars. That's close enough, right? It's the same shit.
Okay, yeah. Actually, or yeah, no, it's like if like a pilot can't pilot a plane, but then they ask someone who like took like 2 or 3 flying classes to like pilot a plane or something. It's like that. It's like they put people in charge of the show that have very vague knowledge and who didn't really know what
simulator players in a fucking Boeing.
Yeah. Exactly that.
I think we've given plenty of examples of what it's like.
Yes, exactly. So, back to what the fuck is this guy's name again?
Ring of Power Gollum. Oh,
the big troll.
Just call him Mike. I don't remember.
Damrod, the hill troll.
Damn Rod. Damn that Rod.
Yeah, I know.
I was gonna vote for you to name him Batcher, but
Batcher. Fucking Christ. Batcher. So Damrod here, he's talking to Adar, and he's like, "Where the fuck is Sauron?" And Adar's like, "He's not here, but he is alive somewhere. We're pretty sure. You'll get him. We're gonna go kill him because he must. If you help us, you're the killer of stone giants and some other stuff." So then Damrod's like, "You better fucking bring Sauron to me, and I'll kill him." And Adar's like, "All right, we'll figure this out." And then he leaves. Oh, he also throws an orc's head at their feet. Now, considering we literally just saw in the same scene Glug holding his wife and kid, I want to see like 2 orc children be like, "Daddy?"
Not only that, but that's practically what Sauron did at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
And that's what the reason why those orcs scissored him.
Yeah. It sounded like you said scissored him, but I wouldn't be surprised if that happened too.
Oh, they totally did. You know, that black, like, man, once he turned to Venom, they're like, I wonder what I can do with this.
The black
peanut butter works, right? Maybe this will work.
Man, I hate life. The fact that Venom made it into a Lord of the Rings show.
Oh yeah, so then we go to fuck. Stop sharing for a second. Fucking Amazon making me. This didn't happen last week. So anyway, then it skips to
Amazon is lame and gay. Just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, it's true. So then we're in Eregion now, and Anatar's there, and they're talking to Decent and Doran about making 7 rings for dwarves.
Did you say 7 rings or Senate rings?
7.
7.
Okay.
7 for the Death Lords and the Halls of Stone.
Right. Yeah. So they're doing what they're doing what was said at the start of the Fellowship of the Ring.
Do you guys see how broken this is? Because it still says Killer of Stone Giants there.
My gosh.
Is Amazon like not working?
Amazon just like broke. No.
Well, Amazon is getting sued, so
it's
that makes
definitely
sense.
not for people watching the show.
Basically, this whole entire scene is just Celebrimbor talking to them. They don't ask who Anatar is. They're just like, he's helping. And he just keeps saying shit like, "Oh, yeah, well, it helped the elves, so it's going to help you guys."
Well, doesn't Doran say, "Who are you?" And he goes, "I'm a friend of Elrond." He goes, "Yeah, funny. He never mentioned you."
Oh, yeah. Yes, right here. He goes, I'm a friend of Elrond. And he's like, oh, so that's funny because he never mentioned you. And he goes, I forget what he claps back at him with. He basically insults Durin. Forget the
I think
exact.
it's like not just Prince of Power, because like that's a very common thing to say. Like, oh, he never mentioned you. I think it's such a retarded thing. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's just me, but like, not all my friends know my other friends. Like, you know, sometimes. Yeah, like, I don't know. It's just like it seems like a retarded thing to be like, oh wait, he's your friend. He never mentioned you before. Like, okay, and
Yeah, I'm still.
Yeah,
we're
like
elves.
the
I don't fucking. We're elves. You weren't even born yet when Elrond was. Right? It was like 1,000 years before you were even fucking born. So you know how many friends that motherfucker has? Like, probably a lot. Oh, it's just stupid. So they have like a little bit of a fucking tizzy here. And basically Anatar's like, listen, it helped the elves. It's going to help you. And Disa's like all in on it. She's like, yep, this is great. We're going to go save
honestly, there's probably a deleted scene where they said this will help you. It'll give you guys so much food, and that's what's convinced her.
Well, that is what convinces her. Because they're like, this will fix the mountain and the famine will be gone.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right.
Yes,
Yeah. There you go.
that's literally what convinces her. This will help the dwarves. It healed a tree for the elves, so it's probably going to be able to heal your mountain with all 7 dwarf lords. If they all wear them, all their mountains will be safe, and you guys will all be able to fucking have food, and you won't have to worry about the collapsing rocks anymore and the caves and shit. So yeah, it's quite literally is exactly what convinces her. And Durin's like, I don't know, doesn't sound like something Elrond would say, because he says that Elrond said you were very wise and whatever dwarf to Durin. Like Anatar says that Elrond said that about Durin. Durin's like, that doesn't sound like Elrond.
little does he know.
So no, he knows, but so they both fucking they're like, all right, whatever. We're gonna go back and talk to the king, killer of stone giants. So they do. And then Celebrimbor here. I'm gonna see if I can fix these. So we can see what they're saying. Celebrimbor and Anatar. Yeah, so he goes like, we gotta freaking talk to he's like, we can't tell what's his name we're making him. Gilgalad. Because Gilgalad doesn't want us to make any more rings. And he goes, I just have we need a little bit more time. And he's like, well, time's a luxury we don't have. Forget what else. Yeah, your High King believes the dwarves are unworthy of this power. Wow, look at that fucking screenshot.
No, he looks like Pete Davidson there. Whenever it's like paused, he looks like Pete Davidson. For
yeah,
sure.
nevertheless, sooner or later, Gilgalad will discover the truth. And he's like, and I'm telling him that I'm closing up the forge. So he's sending a letter to Gilgalad, the High King, saying, we're closing up the forge. Everything's done. Don't worry. And he goes, I would grant us. He goes, so you're going to lie to the king. And Celebrimbor is like, no, I'd grant us space to complete our work. So he wants to make them behind the king's back. And basically, Anatar is like, haha, that's exactly what I wanted. And everything's going his way. So then, yes. Isildur and his horse.
Oh no. What is this?
Isildur and his horse. You know the horse with horse foo? His psychic with the nose of a bloodhound?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the psychic horse and him are going, like, just traveling, just walking, all fucked up. And Isildur's like, I'm thirsty as shit. I'm going to drink this muddy water. And as he goes to drink it, there's a dead Numenorian in it, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't drink that." Gets back on the horse. He's going through the black spooky forest, and he comes out and finds like a ton of dead Numenorians. So he's searching. And he goes to look through here. There's somebody waiting with a knife, and then that person stabs him in the fucking leg with like an 8-inch knife.
Okay.
Takes his sword out.
I kind of wish that mean the throw of an 8-inch knife.
Yeah, right. Puts her to the ground.
Are these knives like the lightsabers and like Star
Yes.
Wars? Are
Yes,
like,
knives and arrows are like that.
Bruh.
And so she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were an orc. They came and raided, and I thought
You're meant to leave it in.
Yeah,
You're meant to leave it in.
Well, yeah, because he got stabbed in the thigh by a fucking 8-inch blade. Like, you don't pull that out. That's not how you do that. You got to have medical attention right there if you're gonna rip that out.
Doesn't he point that out? Like, she pulls the knife out and goes, "Not just to do that, right?"
Yeah. So then she's like, "Sorry, are you sure it doesn't hurt?" And she starts tying like a tourniquet on him. And he's like, "My father left." And she goes, "I was searching for someone too." And he's got a map. So he's going to go to Pelargir, which is an old Numenorian settlement by the sea. Or by the... It's not really by the sea. It's kind of like up a river from the sea. But he's going to go to this old Numenorian settlement because there was a Numenorian foothold there recently. That's where they were in the beginning. They weren't far from Pelargir, where their forward operating camp was. So he's going to go there. And this girl, Estrid, is going to come with him. So they're going through the trees, and he and Estrid are riding horseback. And it tells you this is Pelargir, old Numenorian settlement, all the way over there, because they just said it.
To do that for every new place.
But they do, Roman. But they do.
Especially after they just explained where they're going.
Especially after they just explained and showed on a map that we have to go to Pelargir. That's especially when they have to explain what Pelargir is.
Imagine that they like put that onto every one of the locations in the Peter Jackson films. Imagine that. That would have been crazy.
That would have been fucking obnoxious. And it'd be like every other scene too, right? So it'd be like you're in Rohan one scene, you're in Gondor the next, in Return of the King, and it just keeps flip-flopping back and forth. Aradas.
Gondor.
Aradas, Minas Tirith. Aradas, Minas Tirith. Every fucking
Aragorn's mind. Aragorn's mind in a flashback.
Yeah, right? Aragorn's dream.
Speaking of Aragorn, do you think, Rolo, that this bitch is going to be his ancestor?
Oh, definitely.
I think it's possible. Because Aragorn, like Isildur is Aragorn's ancestor. So it's possible.
Also,
and this entire time, dude, I'm thinking to myself, this fucking idiot is going to be the guy who cuts the ring off Sauron's finger.
But this isn't the same dude, right?
This is Isildur.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Okay, well, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be.
Acting like it. It's not very Isildur of you.
He's not acting like it. Tagline of the entire show.
Yes, literally the tagline for every character. Well, they're not acting like it.
I mean, they turned Gandalf mute, bro. Like that's all you need to know.
He speaks words. So then they come across this. So then they come across this whatever kind of carriage or cart that is. There's this old man laying there. It's very obviously a trap. And he's like, "Oh yeah, we got attacked by wild men." And then the old man pulls out a sword and gets up. He's got the mark of Adar on him. He goes to try and get him, and then all these people like attack. And they run over to his horse, Barrick, and they grab Barrick, and they rip their hair off of it. And then they ride away with Barrick, and the Sealador is trying to fight, and then some dude gets hit by an arrow, and another dude gets hit by an arrow, and Arandir Naruto runs up to the fucking... Naruto runs up to the carriage and bursts out of it, like... Hold on, I'll play it.
Sometimes I wonder, like, why I decide to exist on this mortal plane.
Somehow
the choreography is terrible.
And then he just starts killing everybody. And then the old man, like, oh yeah, he goes, wild men outnumber us many to one in these woods.
That's racist.
Settle your own affairs as seems you best. So then they follow him back, basically, to Pelargir, where they're having a funeral for... Oh, fuck, what's her name? Bronwyn, yes. They're having a funeral for Bronwyn.
Who, if you haven't watched season 1 of Rings of Power, which half the world didn't, is that random healer woman in the village who has like a love story with the black elf who knows how to deal with things, actually a secret warrior badass apparently.
Or you can watch season 1 of Rings of Power, give it a 3 out of 10, and then, Amazon will ban your review, and they won't let you give any more afterward. And that's what happened to me.
So yeah, then then Bronwyn is dead because she got hit by an arrow, and they showed her get saved, like the arrow was out of her and everything, and they patched her up, and she was still asleep at the end of season 1. And the real reason that Bronwyn's not in this show is because the actress who plays her is an activist, and went to Israel to do some activism.
Honestly, you know what? That's good for her. She got out of the show. She's lucky.
Yeah, so she's not in this show anymore. So they killed her. They didn't recast her. They just killed her. So she's dead now. And he's all sad.
She's like dead.
And her son Theo, apprentice of Waldrig, or Lord and Savior Waldrig, is all upset because his mom's dead. And Arondir's like, look at how sad he looks. He doesn't. Look at him. He looks so sad. Little fucking Theo. The reason that all of this happened, basically. Him and Waldrig are the reason that Mordor exists.
Please don't slander Waldrig, though.
I can't, dude. Yeah, actually, it's just Waldrig is just the goat, and I refuse to believe he's dead.
Same. He's gonna come back. You know what? This whole show is one big red herring. Waldrig is Sauron.
Yep. He's been Sauron.
He's gonna come back and say it's Sauron time.
No, Waldrig is Morgoth.
He's Morgoth, yes.
Waldrig is actually Morgoth.
Why no, you're forgetting. That's Tom Bonderbale.
Yeah,
Stop, bro. She's gonna say it's Sauron time.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's Sauron in time.
I'd still rather watch the Morbius movie than this, for sure.
Well, I mean, logically, yes, because it's like not even half the runtime, so it would be the most logical thing to do.
So I have a theory. I would love for this to happen. Like, if Amazon hears enough people on the internet saying how much they love Waldrig, I just want them to bring him back in season 3.
Yes.
He's got like a scar across his face, and he like squares up to Sauron, and he's like, "You thought you got me with that warg."
Is there even going to be a season 3?
It'd be even better. Yeah, they're doing 5 seasons.
How?
So,
How?
I think okay. So it was supposed to be 5 seasons. I could see a possibility of them ending after season 3, just because the viewership is not there for it. Season 3 is most definitely happening.
Yeah, season 3 is a
I could see them canceling it after that, but realistically, I would not be surprised at all if they go forward and finish all 5 seasons.
I think they will for the pure hubris of them. They're gonna be like, "Fuck you, we're doing this anyway, no matter how bad it is." We fucked up with season 1. They could have literally said, "Hey, we fucked up with season 1. We're taking it off the platform, and we'll do a 4-season show instead." About we'll actually get a good team together and we'll figure it out. That'd be the way to do it. Like, yeah, we acknowledge that season 1 was absolutely a train wreck. We're gonna take some more time.
I don't think they'd even acknowledge that, and I don't think the only reason why I think it's possible it could end after season 3 is because they are just bleeding money at this point. Besides it already being the most expensive TV show, already season 1, season 2 is reportedly even more expensive than season 1. And with what's coming down the road, each season is going to be more and more expensive.
Yeah.
So, the bleeding money at this point, it really logically should have canceled it already. So that's the only reason why they might cancel it later on. It's just because they can't, even though it would hurt their pride, whatever.
Exactly.
Is that it would be even too much for them to just look past, possibly.
I mean, that's a really good point, but you have to remember here we are talking about Amazon, and they don't take L's very, very lightly. So if they might have the approach that Roland is saying, that they might just be like, you know what, we're gonna stick it now.
So wasn't is Wheel of Time canceled, or are they still doing more of that?
No, Wheel of Time is canceled, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and that was planned for a lot more than just 2 seasons. And it had never the budget of Rings of Power. And I don't know what viewership. I know it had low viewership, but I don't know what the viewership is in comparison to Lord of the Rings of Power. I'd imagine it's less because Wheel of Time just isn't as big of a name. But they still canceled it. And that, I haven't read the books, I never watched the show, but from what I've read, that's just as much of a departure from the lore.
Oh yeah,
and
I've never read them either, but I've watched some of Disparu's videos on it.
From what I've heard, this is what I've heard. Okay, it's a hearsay, whatever.
Yeah, it's all
so from what I've heard, the books are fairly good books. They could read family, they're fairly child friendly. In the show, supposedly, again, I haven't confirmed myself, there's a big orgy scene. So they took these family-friendly books and then put an orgy scene into the TV show. It's just be an adaptation of it.
Nice.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Again, that's just what I've heard. I haven't actually confirmed it myself.
After Sauron, all of season 1 of this.
What?
I said they have Galadriel thirsting over Sauron all of season 1.
Honestly, I would not be surprised at all if we get a sex scene within the next few seasons of Rings of Power.
No, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. There's going to be
probably Sauron and Galadriel.
Yeah, it'll be like a vision of
and then that's when her husband will come in. He'll come in and see them doing the deed, and she's gonna be like, "Oh, you're alive? Oh, sorry. You know what? This is your fault somehow. It's because you were away. I have my needs. Sauron met my needs. Okay.
Yes. Or Sauron will control the Elven Ring. She'll have a vision, and it'll be of her and Sauron doing the dirty in a vision.
That or Sauron and Celebrimbor. I think either one of those two are very viable options in the show.
That's the other thing. In one of the interviews, they asked, I think it was at Comic-Con, they asked, when will we see LGBT representation in this show? And, the cast or one of the writers was like, you might have already seen it and just don't know yet.
Which
So someone
Again,
in this show's gay.
This is a show.
It's really hard to tell who. I thought they were all gay.
Yeah, that's actually very fair and true, yes. But this is a show that's an adaptation of Tolkien's works. Tolkien, a very, very devout Catholic.
Yes. Who does not have any sexual... Like, bro, he can't even describe sex in his books. He just says they reproduce.
He does have some... Like, there are some... off the top of my head that I can think of, where he does kind of get into more detail than that. But no, he's not... He's not... If I can watch his name, fat diabetes dude who can't even finish his own book.
George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, G.R.R. Martin, whoever his.
It was either you were describing him or Boogie, so it's one or the other.
Both of them.
George R. R. Martin, the same guy who holds himself on the same pedestal, right? He says that he's on the same level as him.
Yeah.
He says that him and Tolkien are like at like the same level. Yeah, nah.
At least Tolkien finished.
Bro's been writing the end of the Game of Thrones.
Wait, Tolkien did more than just finish his story. He wrote so much that we're still getting new pieces of information to this day. Still getting new works and writings.
Yep.
And these books are what, like 70 years old now or something?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember it. The Hobbit was 1937, I believe.
Oh yeah, The Hobbit was 37. Lord of the Rings was the 40s or 50s.
Yeah, sometime in there.
So yeah, around there.
So we're getting close to 100 years for The Hobbit. Within another, 13 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Soon. Wow.
That's actually very scary now that I think about it, because that means it's going to go into public domain.
Oh no.
Oof.
Who's ready for a Bilbo Baggins horror movie?
Yeah, that'll happen.
Honestly, though, might be better than Rings of Power. Not even a joke.
It'll be Bilbo puts on the ring and starts murdering people, but he doesn't know he's doing it when the ring's on.
I think I prefer that Rings of Power. That'd be just a fun watch. Very obviously not meant to be an adaptation, its own thing. Sure, let's go for it.
And it'll be like Leprechaun, but it's called The Hobbit.
Yeah, let's do it.
I like it.
I mean, they already made it.
It'll be Frodo and Gandalf going to Valinor at the end of the movies, but then when he goes to Valinor at the end of the movies, it's actually like a fucking desolate hellscape, and it's just horror the entire time.
They already turned the Pooh into a horror movie. So.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
And Bambi is in the works.
Yep.
What else? There's a lot. Anyways, this is really off topic.
It's okay though.
Yeah, sorry.
So then we go back to fucking what's it called? Khazad-dûm. It's like, yeah, how long will the reserves last? And Narvi's like, we're running out of food already, even though it's been a couple days. And Durin comes in and he's like, Father, I felt it's my duty as a dwarf to bring you this offer. He's making these rings, and you should have one. And then he's like, I'm sorry. That's the weirdest thing. As crusted with pride. He literally goes, I'm as hard and crusted with pride as you are.
What?
Yeah. I'm dead ass. I'm as hard as you. I'm as hard as you.
Oh, man.
You, as crusted with pride.
Just take those lines and they just fit into some really weird porn film. Okay,
I'm as hard as
Bad
you.
porno.
I'm as
Yeah.
stubborn as you, and I'm as crusted with pride.
No, bro.
Fucking hate that.
Bro.
But
I'm hard,
Bro.
stubborn, and crusted with pride.
Ah!
What the fuck is this, dude?
Who wrote the dialogue for this show? Tolkien never wrote like that ever. Ever.
can you imagine if it did? Like, oh my god.
I think someone was having a laugh here.
Well,
I think they were taking the piss out of it.
let's remember, okay? The very first news. So, like, season 1 comes out, all the backlash to the show. What's the first piece of news we get for season 2? Don't worry, guys. This time, all of the writers could be female, so it's gonna fix all the problems.
Yep, they did say that. They said all the writers will be female. Crusted with pride.
How is that going to change anything, though?
I don't know. Apparently, it did. We got
but-
beautiful dialogue, like as hard, as stubborn as you, and as crusted with pride.
I got nothing against females writing, but just bring in females that know what they're actually doing. Like, it's
No,
not
man.
that-
They just okay. They've shown they can't write. Okay, stick to the kitchen. Do what's good. Stay there.
All right, bro.
All right.
Chill out now.
He goes, and I'm sorry, the fate of the elves is decided by wiser minds than our own, says the king. And then it skips back to Isildur and Theo, and he's like, did your mother teach you how to do this? And Theo's like, yeah. And Arondir is like, there's a foulness in orc arrows not easily forgotten by human flesh. So every orc arrow is now a Morgul shaft.
Bro.
They all kill you now. No matter what, if you get hit by an orc arrow, you fucking get poisoned and die. All of them. Doesn't matter. You get hit in the pinky toe, fuck you. You're dead. Done. Donezo.
So really, what we're saying is, like, Boromir, the man who took 3 arrows to his torso, he just needed to get nicked and he would have died. Like, the other 2 were just, like, completely unnecessary. Just a little nick.
You need to get grazed by an arrow.
And if that's the case, why not also apply it to all your swords?
Yep, literally. Why do they not all have fucking Morgul blades? But here's the thing: you can't even say that all orc arrows have like this foulness to them. You know, they wanted to say Morgul. It was a Morgul shaft, but they can't because Minas Morgul doesn't fucking exist yet. So that you know, right here, they had it written. They had it written down somewhere. She was struck by a Morgul shaft, a wound not easily forgotten by human flesh. And then one person in the freaking writer's room, their 2 brain cells clicked together, and they were like, "Well, Minas Morgul isn't around yet." And they were like, "Oh, right, there is a foulness in orc arrows. That works, right? All right, cool." So a Morgul blade or a Morgul shaft is something that's literally like blessed by the fucking Witch King to kill.
I wonder what, like, this is a bit of a side tangent, but I wonder why they didn't just recast Bronwyn. Like they did at all.
I have no idea. And when
Like, maybe they just didn't have a good story. Like, they didn't know what to do with her. Like, they made her up for season 1, and then like, okay, well, now what do I do with her? Then the actress after, like, oh, I can kill her. Or maybe like, if you're being generous, maybe it's because like Adar has makeup and a wig, and so like they can kind of get away with getting a different actor, and maybe you wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
Whereas Bronwyn, like, it's just pretty much her face, and so you'd notice more. Like, it's retarded. Everything in the show is retarded either way.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Between,
They recast fucking Dario Naharis in Game of Thrones, and no one cared. The first time was better.
Nobody, like, recastings, like Dumbledore got recast. Fucking Rachel and the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm like, recasting was anything new. Like, I don't know why. There's something to do it.
Yeah, so
especially for something like this. Like, if it's something like what's the dude's name in Fast and Furious. Paul Walker, like
Yeah, that's different.
Like that's yeah, I mean, it's like I just like the show. The movies are dumb anyways, right? But like in the movies, they anytime they talk about him, they act all sad as if he's dead, but then he actually is alive. So it's like it's in the movies that make it's supposed to be sad because the actor's dead, but at the same time within the universe he's alive, and so at that point it's like okay, well then just recast him. Like yeah, it's sad. It's unfortunate that the actor died. It's been long enough. Actors die all the time. They get recast. Just recast him. But even like that's somewhat understandable because he did die. It's like okay, sure, okay, you can recast him or just let him be let him be for now. But like Bronwyn, she literally first off, no one cares about her anyways. But secondly, like she literally just left, so why not just recast her?
Exactly.
So I wonder what the reason was.
So Arendir and Theo are like walking through, and Arendir explains Theo's all mad. He's like their healer just died of a burning pyre or whatever. Because he's all mad about his mom being dead. And then right here, I just have to say this set for Pelargir looks fucking terrible.
Facts. What even is that?
It's supposed to be Pelargir. It's supposed to be a Numenorian settlement. It doesn't make any sense. It's very poorly set up. And also, Pelargir wasn't really made until after the Numenorians fully return, after Numenor's destruction, I believe. I could be wrong. I might be thinking of a different settlement. But anyway, that's nor here nor there. Because Arondir tells Theo that he's from Beleriand. And Beleriand is, or Beleriand, however you want to say it, was an original freaking massive elf city that was sacked by Morgoth's forces and fell into the sea long ago. And Arondir was there, and he feels like shit about it. So he tells Theo, hey man, it's not your fault that your mom's dead, but, you know, just so you know, whatever the fuck he says. He's like, just so you know, don't feel bad. It's not your fault, but like carry the burden with you or some shit. It's stupid advice.
He's basically trying to, for whatever reason, be his father role, like his mentor. Like he's trying to take place over his father, the father figure that was never there. Which again is kind of weird because, like, as a black person, he really don't have much experience being a father.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Holy shit!
I was gonna say they want him to be unburdened by what has been.
Right. So then we have this scene here where freaking Isildur walks up to Theo, and they have a little conversation, and Theo's
Why
like,
does he look like Jason Momoa if Jason Momoa lost all of his masculinity?
Well, so there's this thing called the Minecraft trailer, in which case that happens.
Stop, bro.
So.
Yeah. So basically, there's an explanation here where he's like, man, we're getting shitty water out of this wall. I don't even understand what this is. And Isildur basically explains what an aqueduct is and how they're everywhere in Numenor. And
Theo really likes swimming, apparently.
Theo's like, you really want your horse back? Meet me at the fire at sunset or sundown. So then we see Estrid like lighting, like getting ready to like. She's basically turning this blade white hot, and she hides it when Isildur comes up, and they have a little conversation, and she's talking about.
Wait, where does she hide it?
I don't even know.
Because if it's like glowing, like hot, white hot, it's either gonna be very noticeable, or she'd have to hide it underneath her clothing. In which case, it either burn or she herself would get burnt.
Exactly. Yeah. So. So that's this scene where Isildur is like explaining to her how his mom died because the sea is always right, and he was 10 and he swam out too far in the ocean, and his mom swam out after him, and then she fucking died saving him. And he feels bad about it. And Estrid basically says, like, well, your mom did what she could for being a mom, and she saved you, so she did her duty as a mom, and she'd be proud of who you are now. That type of conversation. And Theo hears this, and he gets all sad. Then he calls for Isildur, and Isildur comes over because they're going to go get Beric the horse back. So then she pulls the knife out again, and I guess she put it back in the fire or something, and she turns her head, and she's got the mark of Adar on her back, so she's a wild man.
Oh no,
wild woman. Okay.
Because in this, so she's gonna brand herself to get rid of it with the blade, which again, having this mark doesn't just make you evil. That's the thing. Like, you had two options in the last episode. It was either you
get branded and serve him, or die.
Or die.
And not just, hey, choose one. It's choose one in 3, 2, 1. Too slow. You're dead.
Yeah, literally. It was like, serve me or not. Okay, you're dead. You don't have any time to question it. So yeah, she probably said, yeah, serve me. Does any of these people really want to fucking serve Adar? Probably, most of them probably not. Because now you're living in Mordor, in a place that literally has no fertile ground, no fertile water. Like, you just said yes to save your own skin, basically. And I think it's funny that there's all these wild men out there now, because why do they keep serving him? They can just go and do something. Go live somewhere else. You don't have to instantaneously be evil now because you have this mark on you. Like, what did Adar say? He's like, go out and be mildly annoying to passersby. Is basically what he said. That's basically what happened. Go out now across Middle-earth and be mildly annoying. Be a nuisance to everyone. Like, because that's all they're doing. Stealing horses and shit. So she gets rid of the brand by branding herself. Then we get Isildur sneaking up, and he finds his horse and a couple other horses. And there's a ton of wild men around, and they're all talking. And Theo walks up, and they're like, "Oh, boy, what are you doing here?" And he goes, "I serve Adar." And they're like, "You don't look like you serve Adar." And he goes, they're like, "That's not even Adar's mark," because his hand's all fucked up. And he's like, it shows that I've done more to serve Adar than any of you. Yeah. And only we can claim.
I hate this show. I hate this.
And they're like, I wager that this one comes from Pelargir. And then Theo's like, yeah, well, I am from Pelargir, basically. And they're like, well, you guys keep killing us wild men. And he's like, no, we don't keep killing you wild men. They're like, yeah, you do. You attacked that camp. And he's like, we didn't attack any camps. They're like, you definitely did attack that camp. And then basically some dude comes up behind him and grabs him, and a freaking axe comes out of the woods and just smacks this dude up against just sends him flying like 10 feet, and he's dead on the ground. And then everybody's freaking out, and Theo looks up, and something big is coming down on him, and he screams for Isildur, and Isildur just gets on a horse and runs away. So he leaves him. Then we have this scene where they're back in Numenor. This is probably one of the stupidest scenes. She walks in, blind Muriel wearing white, walks in, grabs Elendil's hand, walks forward for her coronation, lets go of Isildur's hand 3 steps later. Or walks up to Ar-Pharazôn wearing red, she's wearing white. She goes up to start her coronation, grab the scepter. This guy starts talking about it. She goes, I share your pain, and all this other stuff. And everyone's looking up at her. And she's looking around at everybody as if she can literally see them. And then fucking, I keep forgetting her name, dude. Tits McGee comes in.
Did you say Tits? Tits McGee.
Yes. Aarian comes in and she's like, with his dying words, the king spoke to me, and she's holding the palantir. And she's like, she uses this elf. And then Elendil's like, daughter, what the hell are you doing? And she's like, she uses this elf stone. This elf stone is really, Numenor's true ruler would never place trust in an elvish artifact, says Ar-Pharazôn. And so this was their plan. Belagir, Ar-Pharazôn, Elendil's daughter, and fucking Ar-Pharazôn's stupid ass son. Because she comes in now.
That dude on the right looks straight up just like Jesus.
Yeah, and then Jesus is part of it too. So all of them are working together to get Muriel off the throne by making it look like she's just been staring into the Palantir and getting all of her ideas from that, which is basically true. So then this starts like a little fucking ride.
The Palantir is really nothing more than like a phone. Like it's all supposed to be. It's just a communication device. It's not supposed to grant these magical visions and nightmares or whatever. It's supposed to be just a fucking phone.
So then people start getting mad. That guy just throws fucking fire at her and misses. He just launches fire at her. The guards don't like hurt anybody or start hitting anything. Nothing. And remember, she said that an eagle showed up at her father's coronation. And that's what really solidified him as king. So that fucking eagle shows up. And they're all freaking out. And everybody stops freaking out. And she can't see. So Ar-Pharazôn's like, I'm going to walk up to this eagle. So he does. He just walks up to the eagle. And the eagle calls at him and looks down. And then Belagir is like, or Belzegir is like, yo, Pharazôn, yeah, the eagle favors him, and everybody just starts screaming that. And Pharazôn becomes the fucking, he just basically usurped her. Shouldn't do anything. So an eagle shows up and calls, and Pharazôn walks over to it. So they're like, yep, that's him. He's the new leader. Her cousin, her first cousin. Then we cut back to Anatar and the dwarves.
The eagle, because like, so the eagles can talk. They didn't do it in Peter Jackson's films, which
but they can talk.
They're supposed to talk, but I think given how they're using the films, it's okay that they didn't. But here, like where the eagle comes up and like, it's supposed to symbolize like this is what Pixie King, even like should have talked here.
Yeah, the eagle should have said something like, no, I just come to see what all the commotion was about. What's up with you guys? But no. So,
correct me if I'm wrong. Don't the Eagles talk in the Battle of the Five Armies?
No.
Or am I wrong?
But they do talk in the War of the North video game quite a lot. Actually.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they don't in the movies.
No, they don't in any of the movies.
Okay.
Again, they should. They can talk, but they don't.
Yeah, they can talk, but they don't. They talk in the books. But they don't talk in the Hobbit book. They talk in Lord of the Rings. Mention kind of conversation. So then Elbrengor and is now meeting with Durin the Third and Durin the Fourth and Visa, making the rings with Anatar. And then that's the end.
Awesome.
That's it. That's the end of episode 3.
Oh my god.
So Galadriel wasn't in this episode. So that makes it one of the better episodes of the season. Of the show.
Maybe this show is actually changing.
I don't know, man. The amount that they fucked up the orcs.
Oh, I know.
This was this is my new low for me for the show. It's like, okay, orcs are just like a marginalized group now.
Yeah.
This was the new low until episode 4.
Yeah, so Next week we'll go over episode 4 and 5 because we should have more time.
Sure. Yes. Yes. We will have more.
But yeah, so there's a certain character
I gotta
that's
get
not
out of here. Yeah.
But
Yep.
Roman's gotta go. So that was episode 3. I know I kind of rushed through it a little bit more faster than we would have liked, but I wanted to get through episode 3 so we can do 4 and 5 next week, and then 6 and
That
7 and all this
that
shit.
works. Yeah. All right, boys.
Yeah,
well,
that's episode 3. So everybody, yeah, see you next week.
We love you guys.
You know,
And we will be
Pilgrim,
back
thanks
for
for joining.
episode 98.
Yeah, Pilgrim, thanks for joining. And
Pilgrim, thank you,
Happy
sir.
to be here.
Appreciate it.
Happy to do the rant about it.
I'll see you guys Saturday night on Crimson Law's stream if anybody wants to come and check it out.
Yes, sir.
So,
And
yes.
and we will
Crimson
see
Live,
you
I
all.
believe it's the channel name.
We'll see you all next week. Peace.
Peace.